Welcome in, guys, to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. This is your host, JustCMTexx, and I'm back. And we are getting ready to go over another one of the tier lists that I wanted to do. And on this tier list, we are going to go through the tanks and who I think are the best ranked tanks in the game. Now, if you are a new player coming into RTS and you're trying to figure out what is going on, your defense need tank toons on them, because this list here presents some of the best toons that are in RTS. So let's go ahead and look at each one of these. Now, for example, Angel is a very good toon. If you don't have some of the premier toons such as East to Eva and a couple of different other setups, she can still be a very strong tank. All right, she cleanses on her weapon. On top of her cleansing on her weapon, you know, she continues to rush. She's a manic toon. She is very strong. So Angel will be, especially for toons who are coming in, you know, new players who are coming into the game, Angel is a plus toon that you can get your hands on, especially, like I said, once again, for those new players. And she can still be very useful. Cliff is also another tank. If Cliff gets a chance to get his rush off, he can be very strong as well for new players. You know, if you are a seasoned veteran in the game, you may not use this guy as much, but you still see him out there on some defensive setups, and he does present some problems. And he's also a bodyguard toon, which is very important, meaning that when you deal over 30% damage in one hit to another toon, Cliff will then take on that damage and he will reduce that damage by 50%. And if you have a certain setup with him with mods and things of that nature, and put him in behind strong defensive leads, and you know, such as Ezekiel and St. Patty Priya, he can work very well in a defensive team. So Cliff is a plus tank toon. Now, next on this list we have Darius. If you are a brand new player coming into RTS, Darius will be more likely one of the toons that you will get your hands on. So we have Darius ranked here in the C tier list, and as a matter of fact, Darius can be high as B if you are a brand new player to the game looking to build a defensive team. Now, Eris is his exclusive ward champion toon. She is a absolute nightmare. We automatically put her up in the S tier. Anybody who have her understand how strong she is. She has Outlast. She has Champion's Breath on her weapon. 70% normalized resistance. She revives two teammates. If her turn 1 active skill goes off, she's also giving 150% infection to 2 people. So Eris is definitely a very strong candidate. S plus tier possible with her on that defensive team. Now, if you are new into the game as a strong defensive lead, we have Ezekiel. Ezekiel is a S tier beginner defensive lead. And you know, there has been some ways to counter him in the game, such as Mia, but you know, if you don't have Mia and you can't remove that defensive down block, he still presents a viable defensive lead and everything. So you definitely have him there. Next on this list is Frost. Frost coming into the game, if you are a new player, Frost is a B tier tank. Why? Because Frost has aggro, and if the aggro gets high enough, he becomes an absolute nightmare, man. He can, on his rush, be able to take out a couple of people. So Frost is actually pretty good. You know, if you're a veteran, you wouldn't put too many supplies into him, but a new beginner person that's just playing in the game, definitely could look forward to having him help out on that defensive end. Next, we have Gator. Gator is a tier tank toon. Now, I know some of you will be like, well, on your other tier list, he's ranked this way. But like I said, we're talking about tanks and where he rank amongst the tanks. Gator is a tier tank toon. Very, very strong, very good. Used in the beginning. Now, another good tank, very strong S tier tank toon. Beginning players will be the Governor. All right. Outlast, he does main. He can take out 2 targets if you're especially in the beginning structure of the beginning game and you're building a defensive team. The Governor is very, very, very strong. Now, on this list as well, we have Imani. And Imani is a S tier tank toon. All right. What makes Imani so good is because I believe it's exhaust that she has in her kit as well that she can apply on her rush. She's a very, very strong defensive toon. And with Jeremiah just coming into the game, he makes her even better. So Jeremiah James is up next here on this list, and he is also a S tier tank toon. These guys are really, really good. Like you have your beginning tier toons here with Ezekiel and Governor, but in some of the late game, if you have your teams built out, Imani, Jeremiah, and Eris is very, very good. Now, next on this list is Kapoor. Kapoor is a tier list tank toon. Now, the only way you can get Kapoor though is through the war store. All right, so that's where his limitations come in at. But pretty much, if you have him with another command toon, such as Rick, Kapoor can go off turn 1, easily kill 3 people on your defensive team. So he's absolutely a good toon there as well. Kelly is a new beginner toon, and he is a tier list toon. Now, Kelly has bodyguard, he heals, and he is a very good beginner toon, if you're just starting off in the beginning game. As a matter of fact, for about 3 to 4 months, he was in a lot of people's main defensive teams as well too, and he was used in some offensive rotation. These guys are very, very good. Next on that list, we have Laupo, and Laupo is also a S tier toon. Laupo can confuse for 1 turn. As soon as you start the fight, she does confuse against damage roll teams. On top of that, she has 400% defense, and she has confounding. When a teammate dies, she can spread infection as well too. Laupo is very, very, very good tank toon. Okay, now this list could include another tier. You do have, she could be as high as an S tier plus on certain defenses. There are counters out there for her, but she's still a very, very, very strong toon. Next on this list, we have Mercer. Mercer is a B tier list tank. If you have him in the beginning game, he's good in certain game modes too. I used him quite a bit in the early stages of Conquest. He helped out a lot there, so Mercer is good. Morgan is was very hard to come by. We had to wait a long time to get him to be out there on the field to develop him and stuff like that. Morgan was a I forgot the name. I forgot the name of it. He was a Mythic Trials toon. That's what it was. He's a Mythic Trials toon. He still can be used in certain scenarios. He's pretty good. He has evasive for 6 turns. He also taunts by toon. I'm very, very good in certain setups. Next, we have Mr. Jones. As a tank toon, Mr. Jones to me is a B tier list tank toon. Now, Mr. Jones can be very good if you put him behind certain toons such as Priya, and you put him behind a Wangfa and things of that nature. He does have turn 1 infection, one of the only tank toons that does have a pretty much turn 1 infection if you don't cleanse. And you can lose a very, very important part of your team there. He is good, and he does give 10,000 burn when he rushes. Mr. Jones is actually pretty good. Next, we have Ophelia. Ophelia is a list tank toon, and she's a lead character, so she is pretty good. She works out very well. She rushes turn 1, can kill someone. On top of that, she does give, I believe, 40% HP as a defensive lead. So she gives that to some of the yellow toons, and she gives it to the green toons. So she is a pretty good defensive lead. Next on this list, we have Pamela Milton. Okay, Pamela Milton is a S tier defensive leader. All right, especially with some of the new toons that came into the game, such as Sebastian, such as Rosie, and she just really has been shot back up into what we would call the meta. She is a very, very good toon there. You can definitely be able to use her in different scenarios as well, if you have her as a leader, and she could be, if you're in the beginning game, one of your main defensive toon leaders. So next we have Peacekeeper. Okay, and Peacekeeper is one of the toons that we would need to create another scale, because he is next level. All right, if I could put it in rank order here, just between these two, Peacekeeper is to me the premier meta defensive tank toon in the game. Okay, and my understanding of meta is different than most people's understanding of meta. Okay, meta is not necessarily the hardest, but it's the most used toon on defense. And then we add a layer of difficulty as well, and Peacekeeper is that toon. Vengeance should have never been created, but since we have it, by golly, he's on the defense, and he is very, very well. Preach is new into the game. I believe Preach is a B tier list tank toon. He can work on defense. He's more so built for offense, but he was a part of the advanced mythic token wheels. I have him, I use him in some of my team setups, but it's hard for him to find a place in the defensive side of the meta where tanks are mainly used. Like I said, on offense, he does wonders against Priya teams, but on the defensive end, he's not somebody that you would invest in, and you can't actually get him in a game right now. So next we have Rick 2000, and Rick 2000 is also a B tier list tank toon. Now, Rick, it was the first command toon. He was a Mythic Trials toon for Skybound X, and he's good. Rick is good. You can put him in certain scenarios and he will work out very, very well for you. He commands, he cleanses as well. He revives on his signature move. So Rick is really good. Next, we have Romanov. Romanov, to me, just never found his place. You also can only get Romanov from the War Store. He is, to me, not the greatest tank toon, but he can be used in certain scenarios. He's just not one of the guys that you would put up there on your defense unless you were desperate, pretty much. But Romanov is not that guy. He does have Guardian Shield, and in certain setups, probably if you could put him behind Ophelia, get some other toons in there to kind of help out, he could be used, but it would take a lot for Romanov to be one of the premier tanks in the game. Now, St. Patty Priya, I believe St. Patty Priya is a tier list. She can be as high as S tier. She is very, very strong still in the game, but they have come out with some counters towards her, which will drop her. But if you are a new player in the game and you get your hands on her, throw her in your defense, because more than likely the competition you're playing at your level, you're not going to run into a lot of people who can be able to defeat her. So she's actually really, really good. She gives a lot of defensive bonuses to blue toons, so you can put her in a blue team with your Angel and with your Thomas Jones, and You know, you can build a nice defense there. You just want to be careful about burn and bleed because they do not protect against burn and bleed. So you would probably want to put somebody on your defense that can help you protect against burn or bleed, or mods to try to alleviate your team being blown up. But that's what you want to do. Next is Sawyer. Sawyer is a C tier list toon. I think Sawyer can be as high as A tier, but he just doesn't have the defensive lead that's going to help him be the best Sawyer that he can be. Now, character wise, he looks absolutely sick. I love Sawyer. I want to have Sawyer in one of my main defenses, but he's just not there yet. But if you keep building him out, if we get a couple of more leads in the game that can be able to capitalize on Sawyer, you know, being defensive heavy, he can actually be pretty good. And he's one of the only defensive toons that has decap. So if he kills an offensive toon, it's a wrap, it's over. So he's actually pretty good. Next we have Sebastian Milton, and Sebastian Milton is an S tier toon. There are a couple of counters in the game, but you have to pay to get those counters. Easter Eva will help out, but a lot of times, you know, you have to steal his 400% buff before you can be able to use Easter Eva. And Sebastian Milton goes off every turn, absolutely lights out nightmare. He will destroy and wreck your whole team by himself. He is tough. Now, Shane of the Brutes, beginner, you have him, use him for fodder. He's not really that good as of a tank. As far as going on the defensive end, I see what they were trying to do here, but you know, beginner's luck, use him as fodder. He's not gonna help your defensive out much. Skeleton Steve is still a very good defensive toon, especially if you're in the beginning of the game. You want to definitely get your hands on Skeleton Steve. He is a tier list tank. Now, up in the S tier list is Tara. How is Tara up in S tier list? How did she come back into the meta? Well, Tara gives 80% burn and bleed reduction to all fast and tough toons. You put her on a team with Peacekeeper, Andre, Eris. You got in Jeremiah James, you got you a strong defensive team. Hint tower team. You got a strong team there, and you can be able to use that team. It's gonna do some wonders for you and stuff like that. So she is absolutely a really good leader. And she has a party healing weapon in her hand, which if you keep that weapon and put another party healing weapon in her hand, you know, it could even be Nor in that team with Davy. Ooh, they get all that 60k 70k bonus HP in the beginning of a fight. Problematic. You're gonna need either Ajax, Easter Eva, or somebody to take away that bonus HP on a rush, such as Duck. So she's very strong there. Next we have Tommy Richards is a C tier list too. Now Tommy can be as high as A tier. You could use him in quirky situations if you're trying to build a main team, but as far as defenses go, I think that he could have been very good, and he does decap as well too. He can be as high as the A tier. If you build him out strong enough, you can definitely be able to use him. So these are the tank toons, and this is my tank tier list, man. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Let me know what tier list you would want to see down in the comments next. This your boy JustCMTexx. Peace.